Hi, it's Dr. Christine again with Brian Murray.
How are you?
Welcome back. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
Getting busy,
Very busy.
Now today we wanted to talk about your omega-3 index report. This is actually a very important test, and we did it because you ate junk for 3 months when you had the big stress before you started your fast and then returned to a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
And the omega-3-6 ratio is the relationship of omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for our heart health, for our brain health, for our general health, with omega-6 fatty acids, which are also essential, but often in excess in our lifestyle, especially if we eat junk. The ratio should ideally be between 10 and 12%. Yours was 3.6%.
So let me ask you a question, because I've seen it a little different. I've seen it actually is in ratios of 3 to 6.
That's what it is, yeah.
So 50-50 ratio is what I heard was
It's ideal, 1 to 1. That would be a ratio of actually 50%, which
Right.
nobody achieves.
Right.
And that's why we say desirable is 10 to 12%. That's a ratio of 1 to 10, which is still not ideal, but it's acceptable.
Yes.
And the weird thing is, the lower it is, the more inflammation we have in our body. And inflammation is now being linked not only to heart disease, diabetes, dementia, and all cancer even, and autoimmune diseases. So inflammation can be caused by many things, and our modern diet, high in junk food, high in denatured vegetable oils that are really not good for you, and low in healthy saturated fats and omega-3 unsaturated fats that are mostly found, the EPA DHA variant, in fish and seafood, krill oil, fish oil, fatty fish, the smaller the better, anchovy, mackerel, herring, sardines, tuna to a certain extent. It has quite high mercury. Wild salmon, I'm not a fan of it because it is extinct. It can be extinct if you eat too much of it. But farmed salmon really is not that good. It only has half of the omega-3s and so many toxins. So it's tough, but when you need supplements, you have to go a good preparation. But I find it very interesting that after only 3 months of eating junk, your omega-3 index was in the red danger zone.
Right.
3 months increases your risk for heart disease, stroke, dementia, diabetes, and all those nasties that we don't want. Now, you get more with your omega-3 index.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with this here. This is up your alley, talking about this here. So maybe you could just explain it all. I don't have too much to say because I didn't really understand a lot of it.
And here actually they put the ratios in those things that you know. Yours is 8.5 to 1, which is still not good. Desirable is 3 to 1 to 5 to 1, omega-6 to 3. So it's not good. And AA, which is arachidonic acid, an inflammatory acid where prostaglandins that cause pain are produced, should be low, and yours is 21 to 1, and it should be 2.5 to 11.1. So it's not good too. So that is something that produces pain, and it also can produce anxiety, depression, and depletes your dopamine in the brain. It's really serious with the omega-3s. Okay, and you get your trans fat index, and thankfully through the elimination of trans fats out of our foods, your index is good.
Hey.
Because even our junk food does not contain trans fats much anymore, unless you eat icing out of the jar or something like that. Which some people do. I did it when I came to Canada. I was so depressed, I ate whatever came across. It's really not good. Now you get a full fatty acid profile report. That's really interesting. And it shows you how much actually you have in alpha-linolenic acid, in EPA, in DPA and in DHA and in omega-6 fatty acids, especially the linoleic acid. And that has been actually linked to better health. So that's good. It's in olive oil, for example, linoleic acid. And then we have, of course, the thing that vegans or vegetarians say. They don't want to eat fish. They don't want to eat fish oil. The only source of actually DHA and EPA in non-marine animal vegetation is algae oil, which is very expensive. But it is there, but you have to take a lot. And the other source of omega-3 from plant sources that many people say is seeds like flax seeds. But that is alpha-linoleic acid. Mm-hmm. And that has to be transformed by the body into what the body needs, which is EPA and DHA. That's the cell building blocks. Every cell membrane has it. Now, the ratio of transfer from ALA, from plant sources like seeds, to EPA and DHA, in most people is less than 1%. It's really bad, and in some people it's as low as 0.1%. So it could be that even if you eat flax seeds, or you are still deficient in EPA and DHA and have brain issues. So it's always good to measure that with a little stick in your finger, and there it is.
So is brain issues the only issue?
No. Omega-3 fatty acids, it's really just a chemical term. There's omega-3 with a double bind in the 3 position, omega-6s with a double bind in the 6 position, omega-9s with a double bind in the 9 position. They are all important for us, but in our modern lifestyle, usually we eat way too many omega-6s. Mm-hmm. All prepared foods, fatty, fried foods, for example, when you buy them, are fried in vegetable oil. It's cheap. That is high in denaturated, degraded omega-6. And that gets built in your cells and sadly makes the cell membranes unstable. Mm. So then the unstable cell membranes can break down, cause cancer, inflammation, and all the associated illnesses from depression, anxiety, aggressiveness, Alzheimer's, to cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, and autoimmune diseases. It's really not a good thing to be deficient in omega-3s, and it has been identified more important for your heart health than the cholesterol ratios that we do regularly in medicine. Actually, cholesterol is a necessary building block for our cell membranes. When we have too little, we die. There are good statistics from over the years on 100,000 of people that higher cholesterol, total cholesterol, HDL, LDL, let's just call it cholesterol. High cholesterol, especially in women, reduces your risk of heart attacks and dying by up to 40%.
It's we can talk about that one day. I researched a lot of that. I was the poster child for why not to take cholesterol drugs. I had like 20 side effects, and well, and we'll post that one
day.
Yes,
we do that. Yeah,
I done that about 15 years ago, and it was bad. I got everything. I was the poster child. Why not to take them? And when I researched them, I realized that there's a chance that it can decrease your chance of having a heart attack.
If you already had a heart attack, especially.
Especially. But even they say if you didn't, there is a chance that it can decrease it. But it increases other things. The lower it goes, the higher your incidence of other things go. And I won't get into all the topics of that because we'll talk about that. But it's like now the doctor has to make a judgment call. Is lowering the cholesterol to prevent the heart attack more beneficial than the other things that by lowering the cholesterol will increase your chances of getting? So somebody's got to make this call, and when you do the research on it, it's like kind of 50-50.
It's less than that. I did the research too, and interestingly, all the studies on statins have been screwed to a certain way. They reduce the risk for heart attack, but 100 people have to take a statin for 5 years for one heart attack to be prevented, and the all-cause mortality, that means your risk to die from whatever, is higher. So the risk from a heart attack is lower, but your risk of dying from whatever is higher.
Well,
now, is that worth it?
Well, my results when I was researching it was that the lower your cholesterol goes, the higher your incidence of colon cancer was.
Not just that, dementia, mental illness, heart attacks in the end is higher with low cholesterol. It's hard to believe, but it's true.
There was there's two types of strokes you can have, and I forget which.
It's a hemorrhagic stroke, that is a bleeding.
Right.
And there's an ischemic stroke, and that is caused by clogged arteries.
Right.
That's the one that they want to prevent, but it really doesn't.
Right. So it's your chances of stroke increases, your chances of colon cancer increases, and your chances of heart attack decreases.
Maybe.
So do you want to have a heart attack, or do you want to get colon cancer?
Do you want to have a heart attack, or do you want to get dementia? That for me is worse.
Sure.
And the reason that it may prevent heart attacks, it's only valid for populations that eat a high omega-6 ratio diet, because they did a comparison of cholesterol and omega-3 concentrations in blood, and the omega-3 concentration actually was more accurate in predicting heart attack risk than the cholesterol. And they have a lot of epidemiologic data from different cultures and populations. The Japanese, for example, eat a ton of fat. Their cholesterol is very high. They have a very low risk of heart attacks,
right, because
they eat their fat as fish and seafood. The opposite in the Russian countries, and I just sum them, the fat consumption is not that good, not that much. The cholesterol is rather on the lower edge, and even if the risk like smoking and all is allowed for, the Russians have 1,800 times higher heart attack risk without having higher cholesterol. So
what's going on?
Maybe it's not the cholesterol, maybe it's just an association. Statistic and association is two very different things. There is, for example, an association of soap use and intelligence. People that use more soap are on average more intelligent. Now, does soap causes you to be intelligent? Now, that's a classic example that people don't believe. But if you say the same things about cholesterol and heart disease, suddenly it's more believable. I don't know why. It's the same association.
The problem I had, and one of the statistics I remembered was the cholesterol drugs is a big deal. Worldwide, North America especially, it's one of the most prescribed drugs. Blah blah blah. They get kids on
most
it now.
Most revenue
everybody.
For pharmaceutical industry.
And every 0.1 that they drop, it adds 1 million people in North America that now have to take the drugs. Plus, the people who are taking the drugs have to take more, because they have to get that number down even more. So the billions of dollars that's being made by the pharmaceutical companies, just by having the government say, well, let's go from 3.9 to 3.8 or whatever, makes enormous amounts of money. And especially in North America, where we are driven by money, is it any surprise that the numbers keep dropping and the profits keep going up?
And the thing is, on the other hand, Alzheimer's is increasing rapidly.
Yes.
Now, is that an association? Is it genetic? No. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. There's no clear cause and relationship. But it's proven that very low cholesterol increases your risk for Alzheimer's. So maybe you shouldn't. And there's actually studies on people with familial high cholesterol that is over 1,000 in the old units. That's extremely high. They don't die from heart attack more often than others. They live just as often in the 70s and 80s. And that study is from 1966. There's a lot of good old studies before we had the tendency to believe everything that the pharmaceutical industry tells us. And there's good drugs and there's cases where those drugs are appropriate, but I personally choose not to take them.